Howdy, it's Jim Morado, and we're driving around the Nashville, Tennessee area. This is the middle of January 2021. Obviously, we still got COVID around and all that good stuff. Well, let me tell you though, Tennessee, man, they're partying like it's 2019. It's definitely been one of the states where they're very relaxed about stuff. For what that's worth, I'm not being critical one way or the other, but I've noticed, I've been down to Gatlinburg some, and now Nashville, a couple of other areas too, but Nashville is just exceptionally carefree about COVID. And we did notice that quite a bit as we were driving around certain counties as we were going south. I think certain counties had mask mandates and some didn't, but we drove down for a nice extended weekend and just kind of hung out. We actually mostly hit Franklin and Columbia, two little towns that have just really grown on me over the years. I've written a bit about both of those on my blog, kentuckytravels.blogspot.com. So we kind of went to cover some new ground on this trip, but also to go to some of our favorite old places too. One thing I wanted to do more than anything, though, I wanted to go drive down Broadway, and especially just look down 2nd Street. There's downtown Nashville. There's the Nashville skyline, and of course you see that Batman-looking AT&T building out there. And if you haven't been keeping an eye on the news, which I wouldn't blame you if you haven't been, I've been watching as little as possible myself. However, there was the suicide bombing that occurred right at Christmas last year, and when I saw that on the news, it kind of hit me hard. I think of Nashville as an old friend. I've spent a lot of time in Nashville. I grew up in Owensboro, and especially once we got our driver's licenses, Nashville was just a couple of hours away. And me and a buddy or two would get up early in the morning and drive down to Nashville and just hang out for the whole day. And back when Starwood was a place, we went to a lot of concerts at Starwood. That was the place to go if you wanted to see somebody, somebody I liked. Oh, there's the Union Station, old railroad place that's now a hotel, very historic. Another historic school coming up here that we're going to see as we stop at the stoplight. So this is downtown Nashville, and it's just nice driving down there. We actually swung through here on a Sunday morning to avoid the crowds. If you've been down here, especially on a Friday night or a Saturday night, it is shoulder to shoulder, and it can get pretty crazy. It is one big party, especially down on Broadway and kind of spilling out on some of the side streets. But yeah, some of my buddies, we used to go down to Starwood, and we saw a lot of concerts you wouldn't get in Western Kentucky, Southern Indiana. That area was really big on, the hard rock bands, the Motley Crue and some of those acts. But we would come to Nashville, and I remember catching Don Henley for the first time, Steve Miller, Jackson Browne, Fleetwood Mac, just a lot of REO Speedwagon. Oh man, I know that there's more. We would catch a lot of bands at Starwood, and it was just a lot of fun. It was really a special venue, which physically that space is still there. I think they've been talking about putting apartments or something there for a decade or two now, and it just hasn't happened. But Starwood was a great old venue, and we really loved it. Historic places left and right as you go to downtown Nashville. Plenty of books written about them. I won't get into it much, but this is a neat little area, and I love it. Hey man, downtown Nashville though, especially on the weekends, it's nice in doses. It's kind of nice to go out and get your fill of it, and then go back to your room and take a nap. Bridgestone Arena, lots of other great little venues, and yeah, so anyway, over Christmas there was the suicide bombing, and it just a very sad situation. And it just, yeah, I just hated to hear that. And I just wanted to go drive down here one morning just to see how it's looking. Obviously, you've got the lights on. They're doing okay down here, which is good. But still, this particular morning, I didn't want to get out too much because, and I don't think you really see it on my video, but there were some, there was actually a heavy police presence down here. This was right before the inauguration, and they were setting up barriers and stuff around the Capitol. We saw about it on the news this particular weekend. You know, they were just setting up extra security. And yeah, so there was that. But yeah, we wanted to drive down here and just, well, just drive down and look around. And there's 2nd Street to the left. They've got it barricaded up, so we kind of go down here and turn around. We kind of drive on 2nd Street up towards where the barrier is, and we get a little bit of a look. And there's where the Titans play over there across the bridge. Lovely bridge right there. That is a great bridge to walk across on a nice warm night. Just very lively. Yeah, so we're going back, kind of looping back around. And yeah, you could sort of look down 2nd Street and see that there is some damage, and you'll see it in a little bit, but there's a very proud American flag displayed nicely, which was good to see. A bit of a cliche, especially if you grew up in Western Kentucky, was the bachelorette party in downtown Nashville, and I've participated myself, and it was just that was the place to go to for your bachelorette party. A young former coworker of mine, I bumped into her about a year ago, right before she was going to get married, and she was talking about getting married and having her bachelorette party, and I just said Nashville, and she said yep. I just almost understood you go to Nashville. So yeah, that right there is looking down on 2nd Street. And forgive me because I was kind of gawking at it with my own eyes and not tilting my camera down a little bit like I should have been. Yeah, and there's yeah, they've just kind of got it blocked off. I think there's still access down there, which is good. I hope those businesses are doing good. I'll probably try to get down there at some point in the near future just to patronize some of those businesses. I'm sure other people will be doing that too. But yeah, that just broke my heart. And what was really weird is the day before we left to go to Nashville, I got up and got ready for work, and I turned my radio on, and Petula Clark was on, and that. Yeah, Downtown is a great song. I absolutely love that song. It's timeless, and it'll always be a timeless song. But it was just kind of just some odd irony there. But yeah, and just a ton of Civil War history if you're into that, down through here. And this is, when I think of Broadway, especially, man, it changes, but it doesn't change at all. Yeah, look at that American flag over there. I think that's just a great scene. Broadway, though, this is an area, especially when I was younger, and I could stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning. This was just a wild place. I've joked, somewhat inappropriately, that I've had moments where I've been leaving Broadway and I've turned to look, and I felt myself almost turn to salt. There's a lot going on down here, but not right now at the moment. But so yeah. Anyway, that was us going down around Broadway. Just wanted to videotape and think about that area. And I guess I should mention a few businesses down through here that I like. Hey, a couple years ago, we came down here and we stayed at the Holston House, which is a Hyatt property. Really nice, trendy hotel. They have a pool on the roof, and it was just a nice little thing to do for a couple of nights, and we enjoyed that quite a bit. Of course, There's the Ryman. We've toured the Ryman. I've actually been in there a couple times. I've never seen a concert there, but I've done the tour. What was neat, my dad, before he passed away, we were talking about the Ryman, and he had told me that when he was young, he went there to see the Grand Ole Opry, and I thought that's pretty cool. You don't think about your dad doing cool stuff, but yeah, my dad did cool stuff. And there's the big state capitol, and again they had some security going on up here, and we didn't get too close to it this day. We've toured this capitol before, another great historic spot. A lot of connections to President Polk, who is actually buried on the property, and just a really, really cool place to check out at some point. If you haven't done that, what's wrong with you? Get down there and look at it. There's a coffee chain in the Nashville area we like quite a bit. Frothy Monkey. It's kind of a nice sit-down brunch, breakfast, lunch kind of place / coffee shop. Oh, there's the Hermitage Hotel, another great historic hotel downtown Nashville. But yeah, we like the Frothy Monkey a whole lot. And there's Frothy Monkeys throughout Nashville. There's one in Franklin. Just another great regional coffee chain with a lot of character. My wife got their oatmeal. She's big into oatmeal, and she said that it was some of the best oatmeal she's had in her life. I know at the one in Franklin, I had a decaf Americano with oat milk, and it was one of the best coffee drinks I've had. That was really nice. And we actually end up, I forget how much I filmed, but we were driving towards a Frothy Monkey. We started to drive to the one downtown Nashville because we really like that one. It's gorgeous and roomy and everything else. And we've been there before. We like it a whole lot. But then we decided we kind of wanted to get out of downtown too. And we found another Frothy Monkey just a couple minutes outside of downtown Nashville. So we drove there. You know, when I was younger, I remember you would go down to Nashville and just hit all their malls. They had like a ton of malls back when people would go and hit malls. Like you just went and hung out at the mall all day. And it was cool going to Nashville to go to all their malls. Well, then Opry Mills came along, and it seemed like everybody just kind of quit going to all the malls, and they went to Opry Mills. And Opry Mills was kind of a big deal for a while. That's one of the things I remember. And then, of course, Opryland was a big deal, but then it had to make way for Opry Mills. But that place, I still like that place. And again, man, poor Tennessee. Back in 2010 when they had all that crazy flooding. And, Opry Mills was pretty much underwater. And I kept thinking, God, not to get too sidetracked, but I kept thinking about, you had the aquarium restaurant. There was that restaurant that had a bunch of aquariums in it. And I thought about those poor fish, and how weird would it be for those divers? I'm sure divers went in there to look for stuff. How weird would it be to come across all those exotic, fish? And I believe most of them were saltwater, so they would have died pretty quick, but just such a tragic thing. Yeah, but we mostly used to come, especially when I was, growing up. We would come down to Starwood and we would go to concerts. If it was on a Saturday, you might come down early in the day and do some shopping or hanging out or whatever. And then you'd go to your concert and, you'd drive back home and, 3 o'clock in the morning we would be back in Owensboro. I can't do that kind of thing now. I can't drive 2-3 hours, midnight till 3 a.m. I can't do that kind of thing. But, there used to be, and man, if anybody has any information about this, let me know. I would just like to hear about it. I believe it was in Goodlettsville. As you drove in through Tennessee, there was like a strip mall. And there was this little record store, and it was this little older guy that ran this record store, and it was awesome. And he had like, $1 cassette tapes and stuff, and he would do a little audio recording when you made a purchase. Just that's how he kept up with people buying buying stuff. He did an audio recording, and I would talk to him about concerts. If anybody remembers that store, let me know. Of course, there's two kind of famous roadside polar bears throwing snowballs. I just got them in the video, and I thought I'd mention that. Oh yeah, and before I forget, I wanted to mention the Nashville Airport Marriott. The Nashville Airport Marriott. This particular weekend, and I get it with COVID, probably not a lot of people doing a lot of plane trips, but they had a really good rate this particular weekend, and it even included like some food voucher kind of stuff for their restaurant. And we had a gorgeous corner room at the Marriott by the airport. A couple of nice windows, very scenic, very, very clean room, really nice staff, really helpful people, nicely. Yeah, just a cool lobby. Oh, and while I still remember this, there was a really sweet young lady. She was so nice. Her name was Shay at the front desk, who was really helpful when we checked in. She was great, and I made a point to look at her name tag just so I could remember the nice lady that helped us. But yeah, cool indoor-outdoor pool. We didn't use that, but I just thought it looked cool. Marriott's have that kind of thing like that. Oh, and the restaurant was really good, too. My wife actually got this salad and said it was a great salad. And I don't know why, but for me, it seems that hotels always have the best buffalo wings ever. And I don't forget all the bar places. It seems like when I'm at a hotel, they just have the best buffalo wings. And that plate of buffalo wings right there, easily one of the best batches of wings I've had in my life. It was so good. And those were mild, but my eyes still watered. And check this out. This was our view as we ate at that hotel restaurant. And yeah, the wildlife in Nashville, they've got roads and hotels to deal with, but they still seemed happy. That guy was starting to charge us for a moment. But yeah, we were sitting in a booth, and this was kind of just looking out a window from that restaurant. And there were actually a couple of deer. I don't think I got either of them in the same frame at the same time. But I was so happy just to get them. I thought they were pretty cool. And it was just real pleasant, kind of taking that in as we ate. Had a great waiter. Actually, we had 2 different waiters over 2 nights. They were both great. Again, this is just a nice hotel, and we were really happy with it. And just because because we're in Nashville, just wanted to give you, if you've not been to Nashville, it can get a little trafficky. We were driving towards Nashville from Columbia, kind of right before rush hour on this particular day. And of course, the traffic coming out of Nashville going south is pretty thick. But on our side of the road, it wasn't too bad. It can be a little bit of a NASCAR race, though, when you're out on the roads. And just because I filmed it and I thought it was pretty cool, from our window by the airport, the Marriott airport, I've actually filmed a few planes just coming in for their landing, and I thought that was pretty cool. It was kind of a pleasant thing to watch. And I just wanted to kind of leave on that note. Just people coming back from their trip or coming to enjoy themselves in Nashville. But I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought you might get a kick out of it. So anyway, thanks for listening to me ramble about Nashville.